Led Zeppelin's one of the biggest and most important bands that ever existed. To this day, they continue to inspire millions with their mystery, their power, and their magnificence. However, even when they were alive and kicking and taking the world by storm, there were many people who didn't buy what they were selling. In fact, some of the most vocal critics of Led Zeppelin include major figures in rock history. Some of the biggest legends in rock and roll have expressed an extreme dislike for Led Zeppelin. I'm going to tell you who a few of them are in a minute. I'm going to comment on why I think they may have this kind of attitude. But before I do that, I'd like to remind you to like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new content. I upload new videos basically every day, and we have a lot of discussions, polls about classic and contemporary music over in the community section of the channel, so you can check that out. And if you look down in the description below, you'll see links to content that I can't put on YouTube due to copyright restrictions, and a lot of that content is Led Zeppelin related. Okay, back to the issue at hand. There are many top-tier major rock stars who have expressed a dislike for Led Zeppelin over the years. One of them is Keith Richards, so let's hear what he had to say.
Well, as a band, I felt that aptly named, it never took off for me musically. At the same time, Jimmy Page is one of the best guitar players I've ever known, and Bonham was a hell of a powerhouse drummer, although I think he's kind of heavy-handed myself, and that's where the lead comes in.
So that's Keith's take on Led Zeppelin. He really didn't care for the heaviness of the band, and he felt that Robert Plant was more of a squaller than a singer, and that he had too much of a histrionics on stage. Another notable rock star who didn't care for Led Zeppelin was Jim Morrison, and he's quoted as saying that he felt Led Zeppelin represented the death of rock and roll as he knew it, and also focused on Plant and his hypersexual, slightly feminized stage moves. And yet another important rock star who didn't care for Led Zeppelin is Pete Townshend. So let's hear what he had to say.
I haven't liked a single thing that they've done. I hate the fact that I'm ever even slightly compared to them. I've just never ever liked them. It's a real problem for me because as people, I think they're all really, really great guys.
So there, Townshend is saying that he just never cared for anything that Led Zeppelin did, even though he liked the members as people. And he goes on to say that maybe he had a little bit of jealousy due to the fact that Zeppelin outsold The Who and became more popular. So what are we to make of these comments about Led Zeppelin? Why would legends like Pete Townshend, Jim Morrison, and Keith Richards all say that Led Zeppelin was a mediocre band? Well, I think that the reason for this is basically because Led Zeppelin represented such a major departure from anything that had been going on up until that time. So when Led Zeppelin hit the scene, they were playing blues, but they were doing it in a way that no one had ever done it before. Their rhythm section was different than anyone had ever heard before. Page's guitar was different than anyone had ever heard before, and Robert Plant's vocals were different than anyone had ever heard before. There was a bit of a punk rock element to the band that didn't even exist in The Who and didn't really exist in the Rolling Stones, despite the fact that both The Who and the Rolling Stones cultivated rebellious and or bad boy imagery. Led Zeppelin seemed to embody it musically to a greater extent. As such, there was a bit of an unknown factor and a primitivism mixed in with Page's extremely advanced production skills that I think took everyone by storm, including the other musicians of the time. One thing that might go against that take is the fact that the quote played earlier from Townshend and Keith Richards were both said by them later on in life, after they'd had time to reflect on Zeppelin and their opinions hadn't changed very much. I think that there's a personal reason why Pete Townshend may not have liked Led Zeppelin, which is well known to Zeppelin and Who fans, is the fact that Jimmy Page played on some of the early Who records and was an uncredited studio musician playing guitar. I think Morrison's comments show a little bit of trepidation about the future. He was seeing something new in Zeppelin that shook him a little bit. And I think with Keith Richards, you get a little bit of the same feeling, although he's not going to come out and say it, because he believes that his traditionalism, blues roots, and purity that is in the Rolling Stones will win out in the end. Anyway, this is my take on why these guys may have had negative things to say about Led Zeppelin. But what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below. And remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.